Welcome to Archetype Support I Want. Today's episode is Elemental Hero Neos, episode 7, or just Neos-Specians. We just cannot get enough hero monsters, can we? I actually don't even like hero monsters, because there are way too many, but in a sense I'm kind of a person who wants a complete experience. I know people, like, there's situations where I want to have the option to play certain decks in their complete variation. In this case, Neos is just not only bad, I mean it got better thanks to the new support, but recently, well, with a few exceptions, the new support we get is more like Y support instead of just completing, but should reasonably be added to the archetype. Like, you would expect more triple contact fusions. So we have all the Neos triple contact fusions and not freaking armed Neos, where you just fuse Neos with everyone's boss monster from the group. What next? Roid Neos? Are we gonna have Cyberblader and Neos fusion monster? Nobody cares about Alexis. What's Alexis boss monsters anyway? Maybe you can say it. I think it would be more likely we get a Red Eyes Neos with one of the major antagonists in Fubuki or Alexis' older brother. I don't know even. Does it count as a boss monster? GX didn't. Maybe Satirius Arcaniforce fused with Neos could be more likely. I don't really think that would work out. Just there are so many iconic characters, but only a few have really good moments with Jaden and have really iconic monsters. Like, I don't think the monsters from Alexis are that iconic. They are good monsters. Like, the Cyberblader archetype was something people really wanted, but I cannot tell you what is her ace, what's the card that really defines her. Meanwhile, if you look at chess, you can say Armed Dragon, you can say Ojamas, you can say, I mean, each of them feel like his ace. A2 and V2Z, probably it's likely we get a A2Z fused with Neos. It's likely we get Cyber and Dragon fused with Neos. But this is not the support we really need. The support we really need is, or at least what I want. I mean, maybe some people like the support we are getting, the weird crossover fusions. It's not bad. I mean, Rainbow Neos is hype as shit, but it wasn't the anime, so it's not too worrying. We could get Dark Mortician Neos because Jaden and Yugi had a pretty had a movie together, and they were the no, there was this final duel, and Jaden's idol. But what I want is, first of all, the archetype is incomplete. That's why I want more support for the archetype. NEX fusion's uncompleted. NEX is a failed attempt of, if you remember, a mask change, but it's like the mask change of the enemy, but it was just for Neos-Specians, where you send Neos-Specian monsters from the field to a Neos-Specian from the field to the graveyard to summon a higher, a stronger version, in quotation marks. Well, it was an upgrade, but it wasn't necessarily good for the cost you went for. And then those next fusions could also combine with Neos, but we only got one, which is Marine Neos, but I will get to that. no, we didn't get all triple fusions. It was really hard to keep track for me. And we have 6 monsters, and then 6 to the power. You can make a combination with a different attribute, except if it's with itself. You have to put that out, and you have a lot of combinations. We got like 4 of them, and still there's anime support I want. I'm surprised we got some of the anime support in speed duels. I don't know how that works. Can I use in those weird Neos cards? Was it cross contact where in behind Avian there's Aqua Dolphin, that spell card? Can I use it in normal Yu-Gi-Oh, or is it just speed duel exclusive? It's kind of confusing for me, but I'm too lazy to look it up. If it is not, I hope it gets a variation that is usable in normal Yu-Gi-Oh. So we want these things to be fixed. Honestly, because of the Neos controversy, we probably won't get Neos printed. I don't know if we really need a new Neos, but yeah, wouldn't be too bad. I guess Hummingbird getting a new contact fusion and buffed version perhaps, but where am I? What is to think about? Or maybe we can get a new NEX, because the next card, which is this one, it's NEX. Let's just put it a bit up and high up so you can see it. So what NEX does is send one Neos-Specian monster you control to the graveyard, and then you can special summon 1 level 4 monster with the same name from the extra deck. So you can, if you do this and you run Neos-Specians, you cannot run more than 2 copies. I don't think any of the Neos-Specians are worth running more than 2. So, but it takes away a spot in your extra decks, so it can be restrictive to run all of them, which is a trade-off to get better effects compared to the normal next contact fusions. But for now we focus on just the upgrades for these specific Neos-Specians. So we want an upgrade for NEX, and maybe we can get a retrain for NEX. I'm not gonna make ideas for how the retrain would be. An upgrade for NEX fusions, upgraded Neos fusions. And how do we do this for the Neos-Specian upgrades? And fusion monsters such as the name was the corresponding Neos-Specian is what is said, but these are things that are already in the card text. More higher levels, they are all level 4, but have the same attribute and type. They have minor stat buffs. We are not gonna look up for stat buffs for these upgraded effects, and of the 6 we have only 2. We have a Marine Neos, the Dolphin upgrade, and Glow Moss upgrade, Twin Glow Moss. I don't remember the Aqua Dolphin effect, but it's not really that relevant. I think the Glomos one is really fascinating. Normally, when Glomos attacks or it's attacked, your opponent draws 1 card, so your opponent gets plus. So this is why Glomos is kind of bad, but depending on what they draw, you get effects like they can attack you direct. You can make the attack a direct attack, and monster card ends just the battle phase, and trap cards just switches that attacking monster, be it Glomos or that monsters that attacks Glomos, so your opponent can abuse it, but it can also backfire. Twin Glomos does the exact inverse, where instead your opponent you draw a card, which is actually kind of interesting. It's It's not terrible. I think it's a pretty cool effect, but it's not good enough. So if we could consistently get NEX and then upgrade the Neos-Specians, it would be nice. Also, because the Neos-Specians are also treated as their monsters, they have been an upgrade to. You can get the contact fusion for the weaker fusions in case Konami decides to completely change what effects upgraded contact fusions will have. But I will generally try to make effects that are in conjunction to the previous version. So, but I think for a Grand Mold's upgrade, I'm not gonna come up with a new name for this upgrade for now. And it has the same ability as the Grand Mold, but instead of itself going back to the extra deck because it's an extra deck monster, it just sends the monster's bells back to the hand. But because that would be just mediocre, I think there should be a secondary effect. The secondary effect, I think, because it's a mold, just search something from the deck. I don't know if it should be a on summon effect, but because you trade 2 cards for 1 new monster, I think there should be more beneficial. I mean, freaking Darklow turns every plus from your opponent into a random mines, so it goes kind of in the middle. Yeah, goes kind of in the middle. Darklow is insanely good, so I think the upgrade should have something really beneficial where you are inclined to run NEX or the upgrade of NEX. I think it's a nice way to fix the illustrations. Let's go for a hummingbird. Same with a hummingbird, you go minus. So, and the life point effects are not really that good, but I think you can still keep the life point effect because Air Neos has this upgrade for Air Neos. I have thought about this, pretty interesting. So I want to keep the an upgraded effect of Air Hummingbirds and life point gain effect, but instead of your opponent's hand, you can gain life points on both players' hands. Yeah, I think there also should be 2 more effects. One that makes up for you going for minus, and something that isn't life point related that you can take advantage of. Dark Panzer, it was kind of hard to come up with an effect because using your own, copying your own monster effects can be kind of broken, I feel. That's why I think there should be an effect that lets you copy the ability of only Neos-Specians. You can send it from the deck or from your extra deck or from your hand to the graveyard, so you can kind of do stuff like copying Tringulomo's effect. I think this is a fair trade-off. What Konami would have to be careful is making, depending on the effects of the Neos-Specians they make for the extra deck, that it should not be too broken if they want to make an effect like this. But I think this is the most reasonable effect I can at least come up with for an upgrade for Dark Panther. Flare Scarab, it's the same effect as Magma Neos, to be honest, and something additional to just having big numbers. And that's the only thing I can really come up with. But Konami could do something different, so it doesn't feel like a copy-paste of Magma Neos. Also, Flare Scarab, even if you give it like 500 extra attack points, getting article attack, 400 attack for every back row, it's not gonna get really strong. I think, yeah, this is what I think, and I think setting cards is kinda dangerous in the modern format, especially if you have to keep a trade-off if you want to use it or want to keep it hidden to abuse Flashgirp's effects. That's why Flashgirp is kind of bad, because it relies too much on your back row, and you don't want to rely too much on it. But because it's an extra deck monsters, you are not inclined to summon it. So in a sense, you can kinda go with it or not, but never mind about that. Let's talk about the NEX fusions. All of them should have the NEX upgrades, which are basically like Marine Neos. If you know Marine Neos, the first effect is like the summoning condition is the same as every classic elemental hero Neos fusion. The stat line is the same as Aqua Neo and Marine Neos. I think that should be kept, and they should not have a return to the extra deck effect, because you go for so much investment to get them. And effects should usually be an upgrade to the non-next counterparts. I don't know if I kept that rule, but let's see. And we have Twin Neos, is what I called it. So this, the effect of elemental hero low Neos is destroy one face-up card, and based on what you destroyed, it got different effects. The original, the weaker version, had monster and you have no battle phase. A trap changed the thing in defense position, already really bad. And if you hit a spell card, it can attack directly, which you might not want to. So what I did is destroy any cards, regardless if it's face up or not. And if you do, you can apply one of these effects. If it's a monster you destroy, draw one card. Spell card, your monsters can attack directly, not just Twin Neos. And if you destroy a trap, you can add one card from your graveyard to your hand. I think this is a fair effect, because you went so much, because you went all the way to get this much effects, and trap cards are usually rare. I think that's a fair enough upgrade for Twin. Glowneos is upgraded counterpart. Terra Neos, the Grand Neos upgrade. Grand Neos, once per turn, you can target one card on the field and return it to the owner's hand. Terra Neos can target any card and return it to the owner's hand. This effect kinda seems underwhelming for all the things you went through. I think there should be a bonus effect, but I will leave it to Konami. I cannot think of anything else that could be really useful, because there are so many monsters, and I don't want every monster to have a search effect, but maybe a search effect would be something you would be inclined to. But because I gave Glow and Grand Mode's upgrade already a search effect, having another fusion with a search effects that use the same material would feel kind of redundant. That's why I chose not to have it. Sky Neos, so Air Neos has the effect that if your life points are lower than your opponent, you gain its difference is an attack boost. But Air Hummingbird's effect is giving you life points. So it kinda defeats the purpose of running Air Neos. So you don't want to if you want to merge Air Hummingbird with Neos, you don't want to use Air Hummingbird's effect normally. So I decided if they make Sky Neos, it should be any different. So usually we would expect if you use Air Hummingbird's effect, upgrade with NEX, use the upgraded Sky Hummingbird's effect to gain even more life points, then you'd make contact fusion to Sky Neos. You usually have massive amounts of life points compared to your opponent, and I think that would be fair then to boost the effect of the new Neos fusion. But because it's just a attack boost, I think there should be a bonus effect, like big numbers we have. It's cool, but I think this archetype has more than enough. Maybe a floating effect on removal would be nice, because you went so much work. Get this thing out. Then Elemental Hero Flare Nose had the effect that gets for every back row 400 attack. So what can Command Neos do? Increase all your monsters' attack based on the back row and maybe have a burn effect on it. I don't know. I didn't want it to have for every card because then it would be a carbon copy of Magma Neos, but maybe better or worse depending on how you want to see it. That's why I chose what I wanted to choose, I guess. Stealth Neos, Dark Neos, and so Dark Neos effect was that you can target a monster on the field and negate its effect. You could target itself, then it wouldn't be shuffled into your extra deck. And how do you sensibly upgrade this? And I decided to give it Chaos Neos anime effect, because in the anime Chaos Neos had a different effect, where all your opponent's monsters effect was just negated on summon. So this is what I decided to give Stealth Neos, because I think that's a fair upgrade and to Dark Neos. With this, I think we have been done with all the Neos upgrades through NEX, and no triple contact fusion. And I decided only to focus on the original lines, so no upgraded Chaos Neos, no upgraded Storm Neos. I don't even know how you want to upgrade, how you want to top that. It's way too insane. And not only the combinations, because would you really want the upgraded two upgraded versions fusion? It would be way too much work, way too much extra deck space, and Konami has to come up with really broken stuff. So we have so what, and also the stat line has to kind of reflect these are completely different beasts. So all of them have level 9 warriors with blue eye stat lines. They also have a terrible end phase effect. Like even something as Nebula Neos, which came out recently, banished every card on the field face down when it was shuffled back to the next deck. Pretty awful. But maybe we can do something about it. Well, what did I come up with? They are not necessarily the most creative ideas, but I try to come up with at least something. So Elemental Hero Boiling Neos is the fusion with Flasker, Aqua Dolphin, and Neos. The shuffle effect summons the materials back. Once per turn, destroy one card on the field, and if it was a monster, your opponent takes damage equal to the destroyed monster's attack, and you gain life points on the monster's defense. It's nothing special, it's just removal with life point damage and regain. It's like a combination of Thunder Giant for destroying cards and um, Flame Wingman to burn the opponent, and then uh, Steam Healer to heal your life points. But it's kind of like more like Neos-Specian. Now let's go to the next card. Heat Neos, which is Sphere Scared with Air Neos, which banishes all set cards on shuffle, and once per turn, it's Dark Hole except itself, which is like, I think we have Storm Neos which destroys back row, so I decided Heat Neos might as well destroy all monsters, maybe even itself. It doesn't really matter. If it's destroyed itself, you can kind of ignore its banishing effect, I guess. And the bad thing about Neos is that there aren't floaters on destruction on the deck, so this effect may not be that good, but when you go for contact fusion, you probably don't have any monsters left on the field. And Elemental Hero, Bright Neos, Flasker, and Glowmoss. I don't know what you want as a shuffle effect, but I think this one I had made it kind of too broken. Reveal all face down cards, and for every card revealed by this effect, it gains the following effect. For every revealed monster, draw one card. For every revealed spell card, you can attack up to the number of spell cards revealed, and for every trap card, just burn your opponent for 500 life points. Pretty underwhelming effect, the last one, but maybe you can get some good numbers of damage. Maybe this is, I think this is a bit too broken, but you're investing in a triple Neos fusion. Might as well go all out with broken effects. Calm Neos, Aqua Dolphin, Glowmoss Neos, once per turn. When on shuffle, discard, both players discard one card, is what I should say. And once per turn, you can use Confiscation. Look at the hand of your opponent and discard one card. Yeah, not really. I think that's fair. I think Confiscation could even come back from the ban list. Elemental Hero, Abyss Neos, Aqua Dolphin, Dark Panther Neos. Shuffle effect, return all cards in the graveyard back to the deck. While this card is face up on the field, your opponent cannot activate card effects from the graveyard or hand. I think that's fine. Dark Panther is usually known with monster effects, and Aqua Dolphin is more like checking the hand of your opponent, so I thought I combine both and the negation aspect of Dark Panther. Hell Neos, it probably won't be named Hell Neos, but who cares? A Flasker, Dark Panther Neos. How do we combine Flasker and Dark Panther's effect aspects? But first, the shuffle effect. Because Hell might as well just summon back some combo pieces. Because you don't want to shuffle. No, the normal effect has to be kinda underwhelming. Destroy target one effect monster on the field, negates the effect, and burn your opponent based on its attack. I think that's underwhelming in quotation marks, because you don't remove anything. And it's not giving you that much card advantage. So that's why I think the shuffle effect should make up for it. Elemental Hero Midnight Neos, which is Air, Hummingbird, and Dark Neos combined. Shuffle effect. Add one card that mentions Elemental Hero in its card text, or special summon Elemental Hero Neos from anywhere. I don't know from where, but somewhere. target one effect monster in the field. Oh, here we go again. But instead of damaging your opponent, you gain life points. Because Air Hummingbird is more about life point gaining. Elemental Hero Hurricane is Glowmoss and Air Hummingbird contact fusion with Neos. I don't know what you can have as a shuffle effect. Target one card on the field, return it on the top of the deck. If it was a monster, gain life points equal to the attack of the returned monster. I wrote twice. No, gain attack based on the attack on the returned monster instead of finished monster. So another big beat with card advantage in mind. Galaxy Neos, I tried to make it as grandiose as Nebula Neos, which is a fusion, in this case fusion with Glowmoss, Grand Mole, and Neos. On shuffle, banish all cards face up. If this card is special summon, draw cards to make up for the minus. It's a stat of the damage step. Most of the battles are banished, which is kind of pointless thinking about it because you are already banishing cards. On return, maybe I should have picked something different as an effect. Honestly, if it's Galaxy Neos, you can just maybe search the field spell, and maybe a field spell searcher would be nice. Or just activate the field spell on someone. Share me your ideas for Galaxy Neos, or maybe any other Neos monster I've come up with so far. I'm rushing through these because this is just, how should I say it, trying to complete the pieces instead of coming up with something really. I don't want to seriecraft too much. I just, maybe that's why not a really convincing way to show that I really want support. But I want kinda expensive, and I think this showcase that's really hard to come up with Neos fusions right now. While there's no anime run and the game has increased in speed in an unnatural way, but maybe you guys can come up with something better. Desert Neos, I don't know how you spell desert. Not to be mistaken with the thing you eat, I mean the place where you get thirsty or whatnot, depending on. Well, never mind. Shuffle effect, draw one card. Air Hummingbird, Grand Mole Fusion. Once per turn, you can return all cards on the field except this card to the owner's deck. So it's usually the kind of inverse of most Neos effects, I guess. I think this is a pretty good effect for having to run freaking Air Hummingbird, because Air Hummingbird might be the weakest of all Neos-Specians. Because life point gain is one of the lamest effects, and because Neos probably will never come, and Air Hummingbird's effect kind of contradicts, kind of breaks the effect, works against the effect of Air Neos. I think that's kind of pointless anyways. Sky Neos in this case would be nice, so having something like that can use even if your life points are higher to give it an attack boost. I think that would be fair to print. Desert Neos as well. Last but not least, Mod Neos. I cannot come up with a good effect. One shuffle effect, just special summon a monster, I guess, and once per turn fusion summon without fusion. I used it. And since I thought this was kinda lame, I decided to make it a field, hand, or graveyard fusion. Please come up with something better. I just tried to come up with anything, so this video is at least complete. Of these so far, I think I like. Don't even know if I like confiscation Neos. I like heat Neos, to be honest, because I love field vibes. Banishing all setbacks is kind of lame if you think about it, but if you don't set cards, you don't have to worry about that effect. Everything else needs some fine tuning. I think the confiscation effect is kind of underwhelming for all the work you have gone. Of course, when I say confiscation effect, what was it? For calm Neos, probably not the life point pay is not needed. Discard one card is you already went massive minus. I don't think you should have to discard card again. And now let's go to the anime exclusive cards that need to be printed. So we have the trap cards. Neos Force, activate only if you control a face-up Neos. The value one face-up once you control except Neos, and double its attack until the end phase. Neos cannot attack this turn. Bad. Pretty bad. But it's an anime card. We want all the cards to be printed. So Konami, if you make this card, please buff it in a way where you can use it with any Neos related card and remove the restriction of Neos having not being able to attack, is what I think. And maybe a graveyard effect because we have space as a card text and we cannot have enough card effects on trap cards. It's a trap card, so it's bad. Hope of the Future, this was used to fusion summon god Neos in the anime. We discard polymerization while we control Neos. Send fusion materials from your deck, field or graveyard, their hand to the graveyard. Well, it says graveyard from your deck. What I think you should do is just send polymerization from your deck to the graveyard. Field or grave. I don't know. I mean, Neos monsters don't have any. I guess Divine Neos is so. This card could kind of break the game thinking about it, because if you summon a Neos fusion monster, specifically God Neos can use any material. But you have to run one Neos, one elemental hero monster, and one Neos-Specian. You could use all the only graveyard effects of the Neos monsters and just, let's say you drop that weird searching Neos, a hero monster that searches any hero monster from your deck to the hand. But I think if you run Neos, might as well have these broken effects. And I don't think Hope of the Future would be too bad. The obvious, I think the effect can be printed as it is, but I think it should be even buffed. I would like to have God Neos, to be honest. Suddenly, you've used all the Neos-Specians with Neos, but God Neos can use just 5 materials. Who knows? Maybe we can ignore the summoning condition of some of the Neos monsters we have yet to be printed. Elemental Storm is a spell card that select one elemental hero monster you control. It cannot attack this turn. Destroy one face-up monster on the field. Its original attack lower than the selected monster. I don't know. It's actually generic hero support. Maybe, yeah, you can print this. and maybe give it that bonus effect for Neos. Because Neos is since the artwork and the bonus effect maybe just add on a Neos-Specian from your deck to it. Next anime card is Neo-Signal, which is just hero signal for Neos-Specians. But it can trigger on any destruction. And in fact, I don't know why it listed level 4 lower Neo-Specian. But if they want to go that far, just special summon any Neos-Specian or an elemental hero Neos from deck or graveyard or extra deck. And if this card is also treated as next, you can just summon these weird Neos-Specian monsters the game tries to lock you out of. And it's a trap, so it's slow. And Contact Soul is a weird card, which is a spell card, activate only if you control a Neos, special summon a Neos-Specian. During the end phase, during the end phase effect can just be removed completely. And it would be still a pretty mediocre card, because you have to control Neos. So what Konami could do is just, if you control elemental hero, make 2 effects. So activates the effect based on what you have. If you control Neos, special summon a Neos-Specian. Use half of Neos-Specians, special summon Neos from anywhere, and remove this part of the effect. So that would be, even with this kind of bad, buff it so it can work both ways, and you have already a good card which you can even further buff to make it more splashable, because Neos needs any support it can get. Neos Space Road is a trap card which you can only activate if you have Neos. And when your Neos is destroyed, you can end the battle phase and draw 1 card. Even if this was a generic hero support card, I think it would see no play. So make it a generic hero support card and have a graveyard effect that just benefits Neos monsters. If a hero monster is destroyed and ends the battle phase, draw 1 card is what I would go with, and then a great banishing effect, for instance, a graveyard, a special summon Neos-Specian from anywhere, I guess. Or if a Neos-Specian would be shuffled back to the deck, you can banish this card instead. Or maybe banish this card, activate Neos-Specian from the deck. But there are so many possibilities to undo the training wheels. But Neos Space Wave. So activate this only when a Neos number of Neos monsters in your deck greatest. Send all monsters you control to the graveyard, special summons and then not. No. I think the first part of the effect you can just ignore, because if this is already impossible, if this is not the case, the activation condition cannot be used anyways. It's a hard rule in Yu-Gi-Oh! And then this random can be removed, and you already have a decent number of any number of monsters you control to the graveyard, special summons the same number of Neos-Specians from your deck. And or G1. See, you have a good card now, or decent. And the previously was the anime effect, we don't want that. In the anime there was a terrible equip card, and you know it's bad because it's an equip card, which you equip to a Neos-Specian, gains 800 attack, and each standby phase it loses 300. Okay, you might be asking why print this. Because it's an anime card, we need all anime cards. And the second is, you can always buff the effect. Like, you could technically remove the standby phase effect, but you can also give it more beneficial effects that make up for the attack loss. I cannot think of anything right now, but for one thing I'm thinking about is that this could be a generic equip card, but if it's equipped to a Neos-Specian or Elemental Hero Neos, it could have some beneficial effects, and more importantly, it would be nice if an Elemental Hero Neos fusion monster that would normally shuffle itself into the deck gets some beneficial effects as well. If you catch my drift, maybe it negate its self-shuffling effect and gets the most of it out of having it on the field. Who knows? And just some suggestions. And the last card I could find that has not been adapted into the real card game is Cross Change. And it's another card where you have Avian and Aqua Dolphins. There are two. One is already in Speed Builds, I forgot the name. So the spell card, you select one of the effects, return one Elemental Hero monster you control to the deck, special summon one. No. But Hero monster is the same level as this condition is way too restrictive. Return one. Okay. Return one Elemental Hero monster. One Hero monster. Let's make it one monster you control to the deck, then special summon one from the deck. This is one effect. No, you return one Neos-Specian you control to the deck, special summon one. Fine, it can be. You one. One deck. Okay. Why am I going with this? For one, I think there's like none of the heroes, like the most dangerous things you can summon is there are a few level 4 monsters that are really troublesome. And so it really say level 4 elemental heroes are really the most dangerous. So maybe you can keep that in mind. That's maybe where the level restriction could come to play. And these heroes are all elemental heroes, so making it generic doesn't make much of a difference. The high level heroes is what really don't have much beneficial effects. Like if you summon Blade Edge or Neos, you aren't losing much. So I think this effect is This part is the more troublesome part to fix. Maybe keep it as it was earlier, as it is written here. But this one, you don't need. You don't need a restriction on what you can, what elemental, what a level restriction to the Neos-Specians. They are all level 3, and not all. They are not really that good. Just tribute any monster to get what you need. There should not be a restriction. This one, okay, you can argue having access to any generic hero by shuffling a Neos-Specian can be troublesome. Technically, we could just make it the condition to be Neos-Specian on both conditions, but I think this is for me as it is. So I think I rambled a bit too much and spilled a lot of nonsense. So what do we have to do? We need upgrade NEX. We need the next upgrades to complete all the elemental Neos-Specians, the entire lineup. Then we need the upgrades of the the contact fusion for every upgrade. Then we need the remaining triple fusions. Then we need to adapt all the anime cards which have yet to be adapted, and with upgraded effects, because the effects, most of them have kind of bad or underpowered, let's say. Didn't come up with too many really good effects, I will admit. I think the Grand Mode's effect is kinda and Air Hummingbird's effect is kinda I'm kinda more satisfied with Dark Panther, but it depends how the other upgrades will be. So let's grab this. Neos could need more. I think all of them really need some tweaking. I'm really satisfied with Sky Neos because I really want this. Really, I like the concept of Air Neos, but it struggles with its original effect. Command Neos we have. Triple fusions, I sadly couldn't come up with anything really satisfying, but maybe you guys can come up with really good effects. I rambled way too much, and I'm not really satisfied with my suggestions. But I know I really want this archetype to be completed, and in what direction the effect should go for the most part, and what this archetype, I don't know if it is what the archetype really needs to be competitive in a sense, but at least to be completed. And maybe, and the anime support can be used as some kind of training wheel to fix some of the other issues the deck has, like consistency, because the effects of all the news cards are underwhelming and you are gonna break like I want. So I'm requesting you guys assistance for coming up with maybe with a good NEX and maybe some good fusions, suggestions that would be viable in the modern format, and how would you make the anime cards better, and if I have missed any anime cards that was used, please put it in the comment section what the original card effect was, and if it's underpowered in your opinion or overpowered, do the adjustments how you would change the effects to make it work. And if you kind of like the effects I came up with but think they need some tweaking, you obviously are allowed to make your own adjustments. And with this I end the video. I hope you enjoyed it regardless. And hopefully the next video will be a bit more entertaining and actually has more thought put into it. I feel I didn't put too much thought despite really wanting the improvement for this archetype. See you later.